Legion is all the rage, all the new hotness. He's taking every location by storm, literally, and I believe that I've been playing the strongest, the best Legion deck that you could possibly be playing currently. That's a pretty bold statement, so let's jump into the deck list, let's look at some game highlights, and see if this is the deck that you should be playing. So this is the deck list here that I've been crushing Conquest mode over the last few days. I've been playing it a ton, constantly changing cards in and out. This is the version that I've settled on. I think it gives me the best options, strength and flexibility to win any of the matchups that I come across. Now, if you want to jump straight to the game highlights, I will have the timestamp down in the bottom, but we're going to talk about where this deck list came from, break it down card by card, and talk about your win conditions and go from there. Now, when Legion first came out, I believe people were most excited about being able to flood all locations on turn 5 and end the game. Now, I honestly find myself rarely ever doing that gimmick in a deck where I can pull it off. Now, Legion's greatest strength actually comes from being a tech card. He allows you to end or extend a game as you want, multiply beneficial locations for you or disadvantages for your opponent. That's where this deck actually comes from. It's a mesh of two different decks. A month ago, High Evo Control was hands down one of the best decks. It got a slight nerf and people quit playing it. But as Legion was getting ready to come out, people were looking back at that deck saying, hey, it's one of the best control decks. How can we put Legion into it? The other deck that this is meshed with is the She Naut, where people put Legion in there to guarantee they would go to turn 7 because they wanted to play it on their limboed location, and on the final turn they're trying to drop She-Hulk and Infinite for this huge power slam. This is a mesh of both, where it is strong into ending a game as early as turn 5 or strong going all the way to that late game turn 7. As with any deck, you got to ask yourself, what are your win conditions? What are you trying to accomplish? One of the greatest things that I love about this deck is just how many different play options that you have. You're not just a one-trick pony. You're more of like a, a Swiss Army knife. And the shorthand version of what your win conditions are: Sunspot, Cyclops, Legion, massive point slam. So the first card that we're going to talk about here is Sunspot, and he is one of your biggest win conditions. He is usually what wins one of your lanes. There have been games where Sunspot is well over 12 power. And in a deck where you are rewarded for floating power, have a She-Hulk, and welcome turn 7, Sunspot is just such an important card to have. Alongside, but probably not nearly as strong in this deck, is Nebula. It does allow you to constantly build power, right? If you are going for the play line where you are trying to lock out locations or end the game on turn 5, Sunspot, Cyclops, and Nebula are how you constantly generate more and more power into those lanes after you can no longer play in them. Because Sunspot is such a huge priority in winning, you need to be playing armor. As soon as someone techs in a Killmonger, you're pretty much down in the water if you're just floating power on the Sunspot and Nebula. You cannot afford to lose them at any point in the game. Now, Jeff, because we are playing a little bit of control and just all around a good card to get in and out of locations where you need or don't need power, Jeff makes the cut. Next up, we have Magik. Now, there are a lot of different things that you can do with Magik. You can use Magik just to get rid of a location you don't want to have. You can use her to make sure that you go to turn 7, right? So that you can have this massive point slam if it's in your favor. And you can also scam people. You play the Magik out and then you say, oh, whoop, never mind. And you play Legion and you go ahead and end the game early. Storm is here. As with almost any control list, Storm is going to be there. It gives you the play line to end the game early or just lock out a location where you do have a Sunspot or a Cyclops where you can constantly be generating power and your opponent cannot. Now, this next card here, Cosmo, may be the most crucial card in this list. It may be the most crucial card you need to be running in any of your decks. For the last month or two, I've been saying I'm not going to run a deck that doesn't have Shang-Chi. I'm almost to the point now where I'm not going to run any deck without Cosmo. This card right here is the reason I win so many of my matchups. And even if he's not that crucial, you got to think Conquest mode isn't just about winning. It's about winning repeatedly, right? If you want to get that infinitized board or winning the Infinity Conquest, you're going to have to win 5 matches in a row. The odds of you not getting a bad matchup into some sort of Hela or On Wong reveal, right now, currently the strongest deck is the Silver Surfer negative deck. This card here changes the whole game, and you're gonna wish you had them when you don't, because otherwise you get to just see them stack that Wong and Mystique line, and you have to sit back and watch it unfold. There's nothing you can do. You cannot compete with that kind of power without Cosmo. But in the games where you're not worried about that, Cosmo does protect things like your She-Hulk or your Hulk from getting Shang-Chi'd. Next up, we have Cyclops. This is another good power generator. Just like Sunspot's constantly getting big, I usually try to put Cyclops on a different lane, because if there are 2 cars there, every time you float, they are losing 2 power. Now, High Evo, oh, there's so many cars I wish I could have in place of High Evo. You don't want to play High Evo. You're sad when you see him. You're never wanting to play him on turn 4 in this deck. There's so many cars that I just 1 card away from having the perfect list. But unfortunately, you must pay the High Evo tax. Now we've got Legion, the card that everyone has been really excited about this past week. I think it caught most of the community off guard at just how fun, how good, how crazy he is. He is way more than just an in the game on turn 5 gimmick. And in this deck, he's got quite a few uses. So like I said, you can use him into a storm lane to flood all the locations and in the game on turn 5. You can do the opposite. You play him into your limbo after you play Magik to guarantee you go to turn 7. Or you just use him as a tech card. As I said previously in the video, you use him to multiply beneficial locations or multiply the disadvantages to your opponent, right? There have been so many games where this card has just been the game changer just by changing location. People complain about the RNG in this game so much, usually when it comes to locations. Well, now you've got something that you can do about it. Now, She-Hulk is great in a deck where you are rewarded for floating power. And there are some things that you can do with her. You can get her out a little bit early just by floating. You can skip your turn 5 and play her out with Legion for 17 power. And it can really scam people, especially if people thought the game was going to go to a turn 7, or if people think they have a location 1, but by changing it to something else, they actually lose. Or you can float your turn 6 and slam her down with a Hulk on turn 7. We have Hulk. If you can get him in early, he can get huge. I think I've had him be 22 on a 7-round game. Like I said, you are going to use him as a massive point slam to win another lane. Usually you're scamming a lane with your Sunspot, with your Cyclops, your Storm, whatever. And then your Hulk is just enough power in another lane to win it. And like I said, if you are going to turn 7, a lot of times you're wanting to throw him out with your She-Hulk, and he will also gain another 2 power. If you full floated turn 6, you're actually going to have 7 power on the final turn. He's going to 6. She-Hulk is played for 0, so he will get another 2 points at the end of the game. So we're going to jump into the game highlights. The game highlights are actually going to be a little bit different. This is a deck that I really wanted to talk about and explain. And so instead of the footage being kind of like a live stream, I'm going to really explain every thought, every play that I make, what's going on inside of my head and why I'm doing that. And I hope that that can help newer players really understand how to win these matchups, how to snap properly and be successful inside of Conquest and inside of Ladder. So let's jump right into it. And one last note before we do jump into the gameplay footage. As far as matchup goes, outside of the mirror, Thanos is probably going to be your toughest matchup, whether it's W's control list from the Snap Battle Arena or an ongoing list, whatever. They just have a lot of different ways to disrupt what you're trying to do and put out enough power and go over the top of you, really. So when you come up against Thanos, just know you're gonna have to play smart, and the first opportunity that you have to tax him for the most amount of cubes, you're gonna have to do it. It's gonna be a tough battle. All right, so we're gonna jump into it. Hopefully I can explain all my different play lines, all my train of thoughts. Kind of scary, but we're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna convince you to play this deck and how to master it. All right, so as always, I'm gonna access my hand. The super flow is working in our favor, right? We're a deck that wants to float. We've got Nebula, so luckily we got something early to play. Checking my man out, definitely not a Thanos player. He's probably playing Legion, but he's not playing a deck as good as this one. So we're splitting up our power here. Nebula is able to gain power, so is Sunspot. This gives us some options as we start to progress into this round. Not snapping yet. I don't know what he's playing. He could have a Killmonger for me. Three power and he hasn't played. 3 power and the man has not played. I think we're gonna go ahead and punish him for not playing. I don't think he plays into the super flow, right? Super flow benefits everyone. I'm getting to float off of it. My Hulk's getting bigger, but I'm shutting it down now. We've had Hulk in hand the entire time. Okay, so Limbo, not great, but hopefully he is the Wong version that's wanting to play on reveal. We've got the Cosmo, we're gonna sit on it. If he throws a Wong out, I'm gonna snap, but he's probably gonna know what that means. Now we're playing Cyclops into the Nebula lane because Sunspot can keep getting bigger, whereas as long as he keeps playing a Nebula, it's not gonna get any bigger. We're gonna full float here so that my She-Hulk is as free as possible. I'm waiting to see where he's gonna play his Wong or Silver Surfer. I know that this is probably that deck because Dexter put out a video this morning about it. Okay.
I am Iron Man.
We expect a Mystique. I don't want a Mystique coming down in the middle because he's not going to Mystique the right? There's too little power. He's going to Mystique the middle. So we're going to play Cosmo early to keep it from being able to copy the effects. We are going to go ahead and snap here. Worst case, I drop the Hulk in the far left lane. Okay, so he did not Mystique in the middle. But he does have it. Now, we're obviously playing in the Vibranium in here. I think we want to do it like this. This gives us the most power in these two lanes. We are very good with the Cosmo. Okay. I'm not sure what math was going on there, but we are very favored now with the Cosmo. This is what I was talking about earlier in the intro, why we're running Cosmo, because this is considered to be the best deck. The Silver Surfer on reveal. We get strong with Cosmo. And also, he's wanting to extend the game to a turn 7. This deck is just fine going to turn 7. Okay, we are going to snap because there are 2 locations that he's not going to be able to play any on reveal effects because I have Cosmo and he's got nowhere. Understand? Yeah, so that's a free cue, right? He knows I've got Cosmo and he's already got a location showing that's not in his favor. If he wants to stay in, you're gotta make him pay for it. He's gotta pay the tax. So right now we are already up 5 cubes, right? It's 10-5 on the health. If he was to snap right here, I would leave. I have nothing in hand that I can play. If I do not draw well on the next couple of turns, I'm pretty much dead in the water. This is kind of good for us. Now again, we're not able to play anything till turn 3. Let's see what we get here. This is in his favor. We know he's not going to want to play into the danger room. Okay? He's not going to want to play into Rickety Bridge. He's going to play into Lemuria. That's why we're setting up Cyclops over. Oh, is he playing Brood into the danger? Okay, he's playing Magik. All right. Good enough. We can get rid of this. This is that play line where we can use Legion in our favor to not go to turn 7, correct? So we don't want to play Cosmo just yet because I haven't seen where his Wong is, and I already guessed wrong in the previous turn. All right. I would like to play Cosmo, but I would be taking a 50-50 as to where he is going to play it. So we would have gotten rewarded. Now, I could play an armor on the final turn. But here's what we're going to do. We're gonna try something kind of cheeky here. Never mind. Never mind, he says. I was trying to be too smart. I shouldn't have done this. I was going, if he didn't have the 9 power in Limbo, I was gonna play Legion on Rickety Bridge. Yeah, so we got a little cute there. That is not a play I would make if we were closer in health. But he's not gonna boomer snap me for 4 on turn 7 when I'm doing stupid stuff. Okay, perfect. We got Sunspot, we got Nebula. I have seen his entire hand except for 1 card. If we have a Cosmo, we will play it into Avengers Compound, because on turn 5, unless he magics it, he's gonna have to play there. Now, it's probably better if you argue here to play Nebula over Sunspot so that... Okay, it's the first time I've seen this location. Okay, we know what we're doing here. It probably would have been better to play Nebula because... I want to snap back, but I'm not going to. Like I said, he's got 1 card I haven't seen. I'm assuming it's Mystique. I don't see how it could be anything else. So I'm not really worried about a Killmonger. Now he is going to... Actually, we're going to do this. He's not going to play into Vormir. I stand corrected. Is this a brood?
Wind, aid my hand.
So Mr. Negative. Okay. We're good here. He does. I don't think he plays into the flooding, but there's been so many freaking times. There's been so many times that like they drop a brood in there and then they Silver Surfer it and just destroy us. Because what I really want to do is continue to spread my power out. We got a big Hulk. I'm gonna put Cyclops here. Yeah, I don't want a chance not being able to compete. Okay, so the only thing getting buffed here is the Rogue. Feeling pretty good about it. Cosmo would be amazing. We don't want to play Legion because if we do that, this gets a lot weaker. I think the Hulk is going to be able to take him, though.
I am Iron Man.
We're not snapping here, even though I feel like... See, that's what I was worried about. I could have She-Hulked in Legion if I full floated, but I don't see him putting this much power out. I could be wrong. He might be able to put out, what, you know, whatever this is, 26 or whatever. And he very well, if he's got Mystique, if he's got everything flipped, if he's got, you know, the Ironheart and the Wolfsbane, he can do it. I don't have to worry about the right a whole lot. He is taking quite a while to set up shop. He's actually, I mean, he's got to compete for these two. So I don't look for him to be able to drop his Mystique over here because he needs that power over here. I'm okay with this for 4. He does go all in the middle. We've got 27. That's going to be big. And then Silver Surfer, but I don't think this gets him there. Yeah. 27 power, just too much to compete with on a completely empty lane. All right, we're looking great. We're looking great into this so-called best deck. Okay, nothing to play here. We're good here. Now we are in high stakes, but he still has to beat us, I believe, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 times. Unfortunately, all he has to do is drop a Brood in here and he wins it. Right, Brood plus Zabu. We could start trying to get in the mirror dimension and hoping that it is the raft, but that's not what we're doing here. Okay, so he doesn't have the Brood. Now, we could create a little bit of chaos and Legion New York on the final turn. We're not going to do that. As long as he doesn't play a Brood this turn, we should be able to also get something from the raft. Could we get a Cosmo one time when we need it the most? One time? No. No, we can't. But I think this gives us some options here, right? Hulk's gonna go to 16. We can move things around. We're gonna have a really big card. So are they. We are gonna generate 2 Hulks now. That's what we're doing here. Now this is kind of scary. It's kind of scary here. I don't think, oh, now we know that he moves the Wong over here and tries to do some more shenanigans. The problem with that is Arnim Zola into a Hulk is better. So how do we want to do this? We want to split up our power pretty evenly. So we've got the 16, the Arnim Zola. So this is 9, this is 12. We probably don't win here. Just throwing that out there. We probably don't win. He moves the Wong over here. He does some more craziness. But we're in here for 2 turns. There's nothing we can do. All right, so I did forget that he's got a, you know, how big is the middle getting? Too big, I think. No, I think we did it. No, we didn't. We would have had to float. Close. If we had kept the Jeff in the middle, we would have done it. But like it's always a toss-up with New York. You don't know what you can do there. And had I went for the Cosmo line and stopped his Wong, I just don't think, I still think he would have beat us on points. All right, starting off good. We know that he cannot play really a lot of his cards over here. If this was a game where snapping actually mattered, I would be snapping because I would drop Cosmo into one of these lanes here. We will hold the Cosmo. I want to go ahead and get Cyclops out here. I'm not going to play it in the Machine World because he's a Silver Surfer deck. All right. I don't think he cares much about armor. This also allows us to keep initiative, right? We want to be able to play Cosmo with initiative onto his Wong lane. So this allows us to keep that. Okay. Now, if I was a betting man, I would assume we're not going to do anything here. We are going to float. We're going to float, and we're going to play Legion She-Hulk, and I'm going to play Legion into the Crimson Cosmos and try and shut this down with a She-Hulk Jeff on the right. I assume he's going to play Iron Man over here because he's going to get the buff. No, okay.
All systems go.
So this is the play line here. We are going to shut down his limbo and try to end the game here. As long as his Iron Man is not flipped to a 0, I think we're okay. I don't think he can play into the Crimson. I could be wrong. I'm only up by 5 right now since I moved Jeff. We'll see what happens. We didn't have Hulk in hand. I don't think it's smart for us to go to turn 7. He had Mr. Negative early. Is this a 0-5 Iron Man? I think it probably is. Yeah.
I am Iron Man.
That seemed like the best play line, right? Hindsight's 2020. He still has to beat me 3 more times. We're in good shape. That's why snapping is so important. It's early, it's very good. It's very good. It's important, right? It's important not to get out behind and have to play from behind constantly, because decks like this can ultimately eat you up the longer and longer that they go. Now, we are going to float here because I do have the Hulk in hand. If we have Cosmo, he's obviously going into Sinister London. If we don't get Cosmo this next turn, we are probably magicking Sinister London. I think that we're more benefited shutting down Sinister London than letting them run crazy. All right, you don't want a bunch of 0-5 Iron Mans running around. And then next turn, I think we're going to try and do it again. I'm going to try the Legion. We don't have to, though. We don't have to do She-Hulk Legion. We can do something else. Let's see what we draw. Okay. Still no Cosmo. Still no Cosmo. So this is a tough line here. We don't have a ton of power finishing off this turn. We're going to 17. If he plays a Wong Surfer, this is pretty strong here. You know, he only needs 7 power here. Or do we just play for every lane? I think we play for every lane here. See what happens. Is this a Wong into Silver Surfer? Probably. All right, let's see what happens. We got him. We got him. We got the play. All right. So there you do get to see Legion can be used just as easily to extend your game as it is to end it early. You can scam some people out if they think they're going to get another turn, and then you stop that. The She-Hulk into Legion is an awesome turn 6 play, right? You're putting out 17 power. Now, had all the Iron Hearts, you know, went middle or something, maybe we get tossed. But I felt like playing for all 3 lanes in this situation was probably the best part. That way, if I don't put all the power on one lane and Ironheart or Silver Surfer just goes nuts, we get destroyed. If this is a Silver Surfer, he's adding 12 right here. You know, he would have added 12, so I'm not sure what the power was beforehand. But yeah, we might have lost here, right? Feeling good. Like I said, this deck that I just played against is considered the best deck right now. And I think we went toe-to-toe with them. And I'll be honest, the only reason I can think about going toe-to-toe with them is the Cosmo. I think I don't want to run any decks without Cosmo right now, just because can you put out more power with other cards in the deck? Sure, right? But the issue is that in your Conquest run, it's not about winning, it's about winning repeatedly, right? If you want that infinitized border, you got to win 5 different matches in a row. The odds of you not getting a bad matchup is pretty unlikely. You're going to walk into a Hella deck, a Silver Surfer deck, just a Wong on reveal deck. And if you don't have Cosmo, you're just going to get to sit there and cry. You're going to cry, I'm telling you. You're just going to watch yourself get destroyed. All right, y'all, that is going to wrap it up for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that the gameplay footage is a little bit different. It's less live streamy and more informative, me trying to explain all the thoughts and play lines going on inside of my head, because it doesn't do me a whole lot of good to just give you a deck if I can't explain to you how it works, how you need to play it, and why I make the plays that I do. So anyways, I hope you're able to take this deck and run with it, be successful inside of Ladder and Conquest, maybe get that infinitized border if that's what you are hunting. And if you stuck around this long in the video, do me a favor, click that subscribe button. It greatly helps the channel. It helps promote these videos to more and more people. And, you know, it makes me feel good once in a while. You know, a lot of negativity. It's okay to be positive once in a while, you know? But as always, gang, y'all be good, y'all be safe. I will catch y'all in the next video. And if this is your first time catching one of these videos, yes, I do like to be competitive. I do like to showcase the best decks, the strongest decks. But more importantly, we're here to have a good time. This is a game. I like to have fun. I like to make a fool out of myself. I have no problem showcasing some of the idiotic plays that you can make in this game. So like I said, if that's something you enjoy, something you like, click that subscribe button and you'll be around for the next one.